Welcome to Silver Bar Stacker, folks. I hope everybody's doing well and enjoying the start of their Fractional Friday. That's right, folks. Today is Fractional Friday, and with that means that we've got a new SBS drop featuring some Frac Stack packs. But before we get into the contents of this week's Frac Stack packs, we've got to take care of our one and only entrant from this week's TD Tuesday SBS drop. And so that lucky entrant will be going home with one of these 4 beautiful TD Bank branded stack packs. And so let's go ahead and gather the help of our infamous SBS pillowcase and go ahead and gather these stack packs for the drawing. And prior to tossing them into the pillowcase, we're going to give them a nice shuffle so that we've got a nice fair chance of getting any of these stack packs. So let's go ahead and put them into the pillowcase, zip that up, and let's give it a nice shuffle just for good measure. And now that we've done that, we're going to grab the help and assistance of our 2 lucky fingertips, and we're going to go ahead and grab whatever the first stack pack is that these fingertips lay their hands upon, or lay their fingertips upon, and bam! Immediately they go for the weightiest of the 2 stack packs, which in some eyes may actually even be the grand prize. Now, for your remembrance, the other stack packs that were available were this TD Bank Johnson Matthey Vintage 1 ounce bar, a sealed factory, still in the original factory seal, 1 ounce generic TD Bank bar with the small stamp, and if we can find it in here, yes, a 1 ounce TD Bank generic bar with the large stamp there on the back. So these were the ones that this week's entrant, as well as those who did not attend, missed out on. And so we will have similar stack packs to these featured on next week's TD Tuesday drop. And that TD Tuesday drop may feature other sort of banks, or it could be TD Bank, it could be generic, it could be vintage. You always got to stay on your toes, because we have different variations of what are featured in the weekly drops. But I want to congratulate our one and only entrant from this week's TD Tuesday drop. I hope this is the stack pack that you were looking for. My inkling is that you were either gunning for this one, or maybe you were gunning for the vintage one. I don't know, maybe you were gunning for the less common large stamp one, but regardless of what you were gunning for, I'm hoping that you're happy to go home with this 1.5 ounces of generic TD Bank rounds. Congratulations to you, our one and only TD Tuesday entrant, and I want to thank you for joining in on that. Now let's go ahead and prepare now to showcase this week's 4 Fractional Friday Frac Stack packs. And so this week we have a nice selection of fractional silver. Last week, you'll remember we had 6 different stack packs available, and some people ended up going home with multiple because we hadn't sold out on the entire run. This week we've reduced the number of slots. There's only 4 stack packs available, and these are available at $25 a piece, and so it's 1 per household. If you are interested in getting involved, please go ahead and place your order. The link is live and in the description of the video. But let's go ahead and take a deeper look at what are actually in these Frac Stack packs and available to the community stackers for this week's Fractional Friday SPS drop. Now, the first one that we've got here, you'll see, is a nice selection of 3 1-gram silver bars. And so these are not just any 1-gram silver bars. These are a little bit more on the collectible side. Now, here at the top, you'll notice is an SBS Slim Stacker. Now, this is our custom bar here at Silver Bar Stacker. This is called the SBS Slim Stacker, and it's a 1-gram 999 fine silver bar here with the SBS Slim Stacker logo there on the front, as well as stamped there on the back. So the one lucky entrant from this Fractional Friday who draws this stack pack will go home with a single SBS Slim Stacker, and also a very similar looking bar here, but this is actually a Generation 1 1-gram Geiger bar you see there. Very cool fractional silver. It's got the infamous castle there on the back, a nice little ribbed edge there on the side of this, and this is still in the original factory seal, believe it or not. And then now we've got the more common 1 gram square bars. These ones actually come serialized by Geiger, and this one's got its own unique serial number there as well. So 3 very cool collectible grams of silver. They all kind of come at varying premiums on the secondary market. This I would say is the most common to find. The SBS Slim Stackers really are just kind of an SBS exclusive, so that's really something that you have to seek out. We've got a serialized stack pack line dedicated to SBS Slim Stackers, of which we've sold 7 of so far. The 8th one is available for sale right now, and then every once in a while you may get lucky. A lot of times you'll find that we throw some SBS Slim Stackers into the Fractional Friday drop. So that's the occurrence this Fractional Friday, where you have the opportunity to pick up a nice collectible Slim Stacker if you secure any one of these 4 slots. So this is a pretty cool Geiger branded SBS Frac stack pack. And then we've also got some Libertads. And we've got Libertads ranging from the 10th ounce, the 1/4 ounce, and the 1/2 ounce variety. Now this 1/2 ounce variety is a little bit more of a modern Libertad. This is a 2015 Libertad, so it's a little bit on the newer side. And you've also got a little SBS Slim Stacker thrown in there, just as you do on these other 2 stack packs. Now these fractional, these are all fractional Libertads. This is a 1/2 ounce fractional Libertad. As I was saying, it's a little bit more modern. Now these are 1994 fractional Libertads, and so this is a 10th ounce and this is a 1/4 ounce, and so these 2 come with a nice SBS Slim Stacker there for some added collectability. And check the reverses on these as well. So very, very cool. If you're in the market to just pick up a nice cool collectible frac and a couple fracs, then this may be something that you're interested in. If you're looking for something, maybe a little bit more girthy, a little bit more weighty, maybe some nice vintage silver options, well, we're going to have a SBS drop on Sunday as well, and so that's going to be something available to individuals as well. Of course, it's 1 per household on each drop, but if you wanted to take part and you have the opportunity to take part in this week's Fractional Friday drop as well as the Sunday drop, where we'll feature some nice vintage silver, you're more than welcome to do that as well. But again, it is 1 per household on each of these 4 Fractional Friday SBS drops. So congratulations in advance to those who are able to secure these. Those who are able to secure these also will be sent a 4% off coupon for anything off the store, and that will expire at the end of the weekend in case you wanted to add anything on to your purchases before we ship them out. So and we'll be doing the drawing for Fractional Friday on Sunday as well. So Sunday we'll be doing announcing a new drop for some higher denominational vintage silver stack packs for our SBS Sunday drop, and then we'll also be doing the drawing for any of the entrants who may have secured themselves a Fractional Friday SBS drop. Okay, so go ahead and check those out on the website. We'll get a little bit nicer pictures if you'd like to take a little closer up pictures of those, and go ahead and secure yourself a slot. I also want to take a look at some of these items. I got off the phone with Savage Stacker today, and we were talking about some of the cool and interesting Geiger products that we're interested in collecting, and of course for our Libertad, or I guess if you want to call it our Geigertad Stack Pack Friday, our Geigertad Stack Pack Friday, we were talking about the different variations of the fractional and just generally the Geiger bars, but specifically the fractional, like the 1 grammers. They used to make them, actually, the generation 1s used to come in these unserialized, and they came in these plastic sheets, actually. These 1 gram landscape variety, like horizontal shaped bars that are unserialized. This is the generation 1, and they're very unique in that they have like this interesting ribbed edge on the outside. So this is what they used to make back in the day. Then they discontinued these. Then they started making these serialized 1 gram square bars that have an actual serial number on the back. And so before they started selling these, like now they sell these in these little flat plastic cases. I've actually got an example of one over here. Let me grab that real quick. So nowadays these things come in these little multi-packs like this, sets of 25, and you've got sequential serials there, which is pretty cool. But they still make these, like you can get these very easily now. Before that, they used to come in these little cool boxes. We actually sell these on our website. Come at a heftier premium for sure, but they don't make these little boxes anymore. So this is pretty cool. If you can find them still in the original plastic boxes, I definitely try to grab these up whenever I see them at a reasonable price. But on the secondary market, they carry a hefty premium, and so I've kind of slowed down a little bit on buying these because you don't want to go too heavy on something that's super high premium, but I just find them interesting, and it's good to have an example of something like this. The also original boxes came in these 5-gram varieties as well, so you do have a couple of these as well. These are pretty cool. So I just wanted to show these current generation 1 square shaped grams that are currently sold in these used to come in these plastic boxes, and then before they made the serialized square bars, they had unserialized horizontal shape bars that kind of look like our SBS Slim Stacker. That's kind of what that's inspired from there, to be honest. And so these used to come in freaking huge sheets like this. Huge sheets. So this is the 1-gram variety. This right here is the 5-gram variety. This is a sheet of 5-grammers. So that's kind of interesting to note, like how things have changed, right? Because Geiger is a brand that's still around. It's not like a vintage thing that's not around anymore, like Johnson Matthey's not really producing anymore, Engelhardt's not producing anymore. Geiger's still around, and so it's more kind of like modern collectibles, but it's almost like future vintage, or like almost like starting to be kind of like current discontinued modern products. That's eventually going to be vintage in the future, right? So that's just kind of interesting to think about. Because I don't think of, when I'm collecting Geiger, I collect it because I think it's cool. It's cool stuff, right? I'm not thinking about it as like a future vintage thing, but all vintage used to be super common stuff at one point in time. You get what I'm saying? And so that's something always to remember when you're stacking, right? Always be mindful about that. Just because something is ultra rare, it doesn't mean that you need to be paying a crazy premium for it. And sometimes things that aren't that rare, like Eagles, for example, people pay crazy premiums for it. So it's more than just about mintage. I don't know. It's just something to think about. You got to be mindful of that as a buyer. Don't just look at one aspect of an item and think that, since the mintage of that is there's only 5 of those out there, I've got to pay $500 for that ounce of silver. No, that's not how it works. But then you might have something that instead of it being 5 minted, it's only 500 minted, but then somebody is paying $500 for that 1 ounce of silver. So it varies, right? What people value on a piece of silver, right? A lot of people might just look at this and they might just say, that's only 3 grams of silver, and it's only $25, or that's only like a half ounce of silver and some change, and it's only $25. Yeah, a lot of people need to always be very close to spot, and they're not interested in collecting collectible type of stuff like that. And so that's why those types of people should maybe wait for SBS Sunday drop, because then you get some nice vintage, possibility of some nice vintage, well, definitely guaranteed of some nice vintage, plus the possibility of maybe 2 ounces of silver, or 1.5 ounces of silver, like in this case, or some really, really super rare bar for a pretty reasonable price. So that's kind of like the purpose of the SBS drops, is to kind of make that stuff more accessible, because people aren't always willing to pay $30 for a gram of silver, or $50 for a gram of silver, or $100 for an ounce of silver. But sometimes it's cool to be able to just toss $20-25 at something, and for a chance to maybe you get something cool, right? These things, I definitely paid more than $25 just to even acquire one of these things. And so, in my opinion, if you snag one of these for $25 plus you get yourself a gram of silver plus it's shipped to your house for free, that's a pretty solid deal. And so in my eyes, this is definitely one of the grand prizes here. Some people may look at some of these other items as grand prizes and they may find value in them. Other people may be like, that's not my cup of tea. So like on TD Tuesday, it wasn't super popular because the premiums are kind of high on TD Tuesday. That's the highest premium SBS drop that we do of all the weeks. And so it wasn't surprising to me that we only had one entrant for that week. And so you always want to be mindful of that when you're stacking. Just always stay within your comfort zone. There's always going to be another TD Tuesday. There's always going to be another opportunity to buy a SPS Slim Stacker. There's always going to be another opportunity to buy a Geiger bar if you don't happen to be able to acquire one of these and then the premiums become out of reach or something like that. There's always going to be an opportunity to add more weight to your stack. So stay disciplined and keep stacking. Cheers.